A motorcycle gives you speed with nothing around your body. When you fall, whatever is nearest kills you. None of these six got up. Duane Allman. October 29, 1971. Macon, Georgia. The best guitarist in American rock was riding his Harley home through the city he had made famous, and a flatbed truck was rolling to a stop across the intersection ahead of him. Allman was 24, the slide guitar behind the Allman Brothers, and the most sought-after session player in the South. He had cut records with Aretha Franklin, Wilson Pickett, and Eric Clapton. The band's live album had come out that summer and was already going gold, and he was the reason anyone had heard of them. He had just come off the run of shows that made the band's name. That afternoon, he was riding across town to a birthday party, fast and sure, with nothing around him but the street. The truck, loaded with a lumber crane, stopped short in the crossing, its heavy steel ball swinging out over the road. Allman had a heartbeat to choose. He threw the bike hard left to clear it, caught the crane, and was thrown from the seat. The Harley flipped into the air, came down across his body, and slid 90 feet down the road with him pinned beneath it. Its weight crushed his chest flat. On the table, the surgeon found the artery above his heart torn through and his liver split in two, and there was too much broken inside him to bring back. He died 3 hours later, 3 weeks short of 25. He beat the truck. He turned. He cleared it. He did everything a rider can. Then his own machine came down and finished what the truck had missed. Clyde Stillwell. August 30th. 1912. St. Louis. A young racer was tearing around the steep new boards of a motordrome on its opening night, in front of a packed crowd that had come to see how fast a motorcycle could go. The motordrome was the newest thing in American sport, a bowl of raw pine banked so steeply the riders ran almost sideways to the ground. Promoters were throwing these bowls up fast and cheap in cities across the country, and the crowds came by the thousand to lean over a low wooden rail, close enough to touch the machines. The riders wore caps and goggles and nothing else. There were no brakes worth the name, and no barrier between the riders and the people. A fall meant the boards, the rail, or the crowd, and men had already died on tracks like this one. It was the track's opening night. High on the bank, at around 60 miles an hour, Stillwell lost it. He was thrown 30 feet off the track and into the crowd. He came down in the front rows of the crowd. He was nearly decapitated, and afterward the police said that every bone in his body was broken. His rival, a man named Collins, had not seen it happen and raced on around the bowl for 3 more laps before they flagged him down. The track opened that night to show a city the future. Its first race was its first funeral. The crowd had leaned in for the speed, and the speed came over the rail to meet them. Odin Johnson. July 30th, 1913. Ludlow, Kentucky. A rider from Salt Lake City was running high on the wall of the Lagoon Motordrome, up among the light poles that rings the rim of the bowl, with a full tank of fuel beneath him. The newspapers were already calling these tracks murderdromes, and the name was earned. The banking pushed the riders up toward the top, where the light poles, the wiring, and the packed seats all waited a few feet from the racing line. The machines had no real brakes, and they carried their fuel in an open tank slung beneath the rider. Johnson had come east from Salt Lake City, drawn by the prize money the murderdromes paid, and the Lagoon had packed its stands that summer evening. He was near the rim when his machine got away from him. He hit one of the light poles head-on. The pole snapped, and its live wires came down across his fuel tank. The tank burst into a sheet of burning gasoline. Johnson was flung off the track and into the seats, the fire still burning on him as he landed. 8 people died that night, spectators among them. After Ludlow, the campaign to ban the murderdromes could not be stopped, and within a few years most of them were gone. He was killed by the 3 things the murderdrome kept closest to its riders: a pole to hit, a wire to fall, a tank to burn. All of it was built into the price of the show. Albert Blankenship. July 4th, 1916. Indianapolis. A 23-year-old racer was flat out along the board fence of the fairgrounds track, part of a holiday program the local paper had promised would be a safe and sane 4th of July. That was a real campaign across America. Fireworks and stray bullets killed and maimed hundreds every 4th, and cities were replacing them with organized events that were not supposed to hurt anyone. Indianapolis put on motorcycle races at the state fairgrounds as one of them. A big holiday crowd came out to watch the machines run. The boards of the fence ran close along the edge of the track, dry and splintered by the sun. It was the same soft pine. The tracks were built from everywhere. The fence was there to hold the crowd back, not to protect the riders, and no one had imagined the barrier itself could be the danger. Coming down the straight, his machine broke through the wooden fence. As he crashed through it, a splinter from one of the boards passed through his chest. He lay dead on the track, impaled on the wood, 23 years old. The next morning the papers ran it in the headline. A motorcycle racer, impaled on a splinter, killed. The day had been sold as the safe one, the fourth without the usual dead. The fence built to keep the racers in was the thing that ran one of them through. George Higgins, June 21, 1911. A country road near Colby, Kansas. A local school superintendent was out riding his motorcycle in the summer heat, a friend on the seat behind him, on a straight dirt road he had driven 100 times. Higgins was a respected man in his county, not a racer, just someone who had taken to the new machines the way people did in those years. The motorcycle was faster than anything the roads had been built for. The road ran dead straight between the wheat fields, empty for miles. That afternoon he opened the machine up on the stretch outside town. His passenger was Jules Quick, a former county attorney and a friend. Riding on the seat behind him, strung across the road at the height of a man's neck, invisible against the fields, was a length of barbed wire. No one was ever sure who had put it there. He rode into it at speed. The wire caught him across the throat, and he was beheaded and killed on the instant. The man behind him was badly hurt, but he lived. Word of it ran across the country on the wire within days. The same short line in paper after paper. He was not racing. There was no wall, no track, no crowd. There was only an open country road, a fast machine, and a single wire at the height of a man's neck. That was all it took. T.E. Lawrence. May 13, 1935. A narrow lane in Dorset. Lawrence of Arabia, the man who had crossed deserts whole armies could not, was riding the fastest motorcycle in the world home along a road he knew by heart. A dip ahead was hiding two boys on bicycles. Lawrence had survived the Arabian desert, Turkish captivity, and the whole of the First World War. His Bruff Superior was the most powerful production motorcycle money could buy. He had left the service 2 months before, and meant to live quietly. He rode it hard and bareheaded, the way everyone did in 1935. Helmets did not exist. The dip dropped away just far enough to hide what was in it. By the time the two boys rose into view, they were already too close to miss. He swerved, caught a wheel, and was thrown clean over the handlebars. There was nothing between his head and the road. His skull was fractured, and the brain beneath it torn. He never regained consciousness, and 6 days later, on the 19th of May, he died at 46. One of the doctors who fought to save him was a young surgeon named Hugh Cairns, who could not forget the broken skull he had not been able to mend. Cairns spent years counting the riders killed the same way, and his count became the case for the crash helmet. The most famous rider of his age died with nothing on his head, and every rider after him wore one because of it.